was Saturday, the high Sabbath after Passover, and the women were at home weeping. They had watched Jesus die. They saw where he was buried, and they had a plan to prepare their own spices and ointments and return early on Sunday morning to the tomb to anoint his body. But now it was Saturday, and they waited, and they kept the Sabbath. And Jesus' body waited in the garden tomb, dead, really dead. The men were distraught too, because they also had loved Jesus. Had they been so very wrong, mistaken? They felt ashamed for deserting him, but they were afraid, and on this Saturday they were very, very afraid. Jesus was dead. Many false messiahs had come and gone, and their followers had always been rounded up to meet the same fate as their leaders. So they locked the doors and they kept the Sabbath. Actually, 3 times Jesus had clearly told his disciples he would rise on the 3rd day. But we all know how sorrow and fear can hinder us from receiving, believing, and trusting in God's word. Now, on that Saturday morning, the chief priests and Pharisees were very busy. They went to Pilate. We remember that impostor saying he would rise on the 3rd day. What if his followers steal the body and pretend it's really happened? Pilate responded, well, take a guard of soldiers and put a seal on the tomb. And so that's what they did. Perhaps the priests and the Pharisees had remembered Christ's warning to them. Just as Jonah was 3 days and nights in the belly of the great fish, so will the Son of Man be 3 days and nights in the heart of the earth. Jesus' atoning work on the cross was finished. But Christ the God-man was far from finished. And while his body rested in that locked tomb, the soul of Jesus, now holding the keys to death and Hades, journeyed to the heart of the earth, to the place of the dead, where he proclaimed his victory on the cross to the fallen angels, the unrighteous dead, and the Old Testament saints. Christ spent his Sabbath in the paradise of God, in the bosom of Abraham. This was a place of comfort and rest for the righteous dead, where Jesus had promised to meet the penitent thief who was crucified beside him. The Old Testament saints had waited long for the coming of the promised Messiah, but now Christ was in their midst, transforming the very nature of paradise from a place of expectation to the reality of God ever present with his people, even in death. So let's rejoice on Holy Saturday, even when the tomb seems locked and evil appears to be winning. God is at work behind the scenes. Christ's descent to the place of the dead was the beginning of his exaltation. So take heart on Holy Saturday. Let's encourage one another to trust in his word as we wait for him. Easter morning, the consummation of his victory, when shadows flee away and the new day breathes, is coming.